Welcome everyone back to Weekly Weather Updates, and today we're going to be having a look at the GFS and the ECM Ensemble, the ECM and the GFS Ensembles, along with you here, Met Officer. Sorry about I missed the video yesterday, I was really busy, so unfortunately I couldn't get that out. Nothing really changed yesterday, and again today, nothing really has changed significantly, but it's just pinning down the details on Storm, Ciara, I think is how you pronounce it. Yeah, Ciara, yeah, Ciara, that sounds better, Ciara, C-I-A-R-A, I think, yeah, that's how you spell it. Well, yeah, that storm's coming on Sunday, and it's going to be quite a significant storm. The reason why it's been a lot of people are going quite mad about it on Twitter, really, is the fact that it's going to be widespread. Normally you'd get a low pressure like this, it wouldn't normally get as deep as this, but you do get 70-80 mile an hour gusts quite frequently throughout the autumn and winter months, especially over northern Scotland, over the hills, southwest England, coastal areas. But the issue with this storm that's coming is the fact that it's going to be widespread winds above 70 mile an hour, wind gusts, let me say. So that's hurricane force gusts. Hurricane force gusts for the whole country. Even London is looking like a point on Sunday it's going to be for a few hours reaching 70 mile an hour gusts, and that's going to be very dangerous, especially with some funneling through buildings, etc. So we're going to have to keep a big eye on this. I'm not going to look at the exact wind speeds and rainfall today. I'll do that tomorrow evening. That's because it hasn't quite been pinned down exactly what's going to happen. We know it's going to be widespread winds, but exactly where the worst winds are going to be and the timings of it haven't been quite pinned down. So I'll just let you out very strong winds for early Sunday and throughout Sunday, and pretty much for most of next week, which is quite strong winds, but the most extreme is going to be coming on Sunday, and there's potential midweek next week. And I'll show you in the GFS operation run now, there's a potential for another storm further south, where the centre is further south. So we'll have a look at that quickly. Now let's go for the operational run, and that high pressure sort of slips away, and Friday low pressure starts to move in, but it is coming out of northern Canada, or northeastern Canada right now. That is Storm Ciara, heading towards the UK along the jet stream. Reasonably cool, but it's not that cold. It'll be all falling as rain, maybe a bit of snow over the Scottish Highlands, but that's about it. As it moves through, it deepens rapidly to go to northern Scotland, and you can see, normally you get that pinch of isobars just near the centre of the low, but it's widespread all the way down to the south, and that is why early to mid-Sunday, there's going to be extremely strong winds for the whole of the UK, with a rain band and the strongest of, the heaviest rain further north and over hills. It does move through relatively quickly, the actual low pressure system. However, we remain in this very strong tropospheric polar vortex, sort of northwesterly, which will starting to bring in some very cold air off the Atlantic. It's going to be cold enough for some flakes pretty much anywhere. There's not really any forecast for any accumulating snow other than over hills, about 150-200 metres further north. Significant accumulation over the highlands and some very the highest peaks and the highest hills. However, even further down, there's potential for a few flakes, even in the south. But again, we'd have to pinpoint that near the date. So I'll probably on Sunday I'll have a look at the potential for snow on Monday to Wednesday. It looks like this sort of pattern's going to be there Monday to Wednesday. It's going to remain very blustery and quite cold. And as we move through, it remains that cold, blustery sort of feed. It's bringing some very strong winds and wintry showers. But it's this low here, which is what we're watching. How this develops and where does it move through. As currently we're in that sort of cold flow, but it's giving him a bit of milder air. And it does move through towards the UK, and it does spread right through the UK. Now, how deep this gets is still to be determined. Earlier this week, the GFS and the ECMWF were predicting this in some of their runs, not all of them, in some of the runs, to be even stronger than Sunday's storm. So some people will think this is going to be named after the D storm alphabet. So we'll just have to see. Trust me, if it doesn't get too deep on this run, it weakens significantly over the course of the UK, and then we sort of bring in a more southwesterly sort of flow with milder air moving in the warm sectors. It does look like high pressure is building over to the western Atlantic. However, it does make a little bit of an influence, but then the Atlantic low pressure systems come roaring back in for the end of the run. Nothing really mild. Nothing really too mild or nothing really too cold there. Just pretty on and off cold and warm or mild sort of air. And we end the run with high pressure in the south, low pressure in the north, typical zonal flow. If we have a look at the upper air temperatures, West Central doesn't highlight it as much because it's difficult to see the temperature gradient, especially in the -5 isotherm and beyond. But you see here, very mild air for now, but it's still quite cold on the surface, with quite a deep inversion at the moment. And you see the very strong, with that very big mild sector, very cold air coming in behind of storm Ciara. As we move through, we get a pinch of mild air. So it's going to be very mild. It's going to be 13, 14 degrees on Saturday, Sunday. But it's very strong winds and very strong winds and significant rainfall, especially further north. And if you can see this very cold sort of northwesterly comes in, which is going to see how cold it really gets, as that how much that -5 and that -7.5 gets towards the UK. It's difficult to see on here exactly where the coldest air is. But again, we'll have to keep an eye on that, as that will determine whether there will be any snow. Now this low here doesn't really get much of a milder sector. However, it does go a little bit milder, and then brings in colder air afterwards. So I'm expecting there to be a bit of snow further north. But again, that has not been pinpointed, and the main focus at the moment is on Sunday, and we'll have a look at these when that has passed. But again, more zonal flow and milder, cooler sectors comes back in as we lose that sort of northwesterly feed. It's be very mild air to the south, very cold air to the north, powering this westerly jet stream. So yeah, nothing too cold looking. It is looking likely in the longer term, really. Unfortunately. So yeah, this might be our only chance of a bit of snow this winter. But again, we'll have to keep an eye on everything. At least something exciting's happened. At least something different's happening, really. ECM, we'll see how I haven't seen the run this evening. Always interesting to see how it develops, that storm. Very, very strong winds to the north. Does look like it pinches the isobars further north a lot more than the GFS. So very strong winds, potentially 100-mile-an-hour winds. So that's Category 1 hurricane strength gusts over northern Scotland, bringing probably blizzards to the tops of the mountains. But it will be this flow afterwards that will it will potentially bring more snow with that. For the south, again, very strong winds. Both models are now agreeing on that, so it does look like it's going to be very strong. Just the pinpoint whether it's going to be 60-mile-an-hour gusts or 80-mile-an-hour gusts. That's what we're looking at the moment. As it moves through, we get that northwesterly feed. Does hold on to most of Tuesday, and then Wednesday that low comes in. The ECM doesn't deepen it as much as the GFS does. We pull in a brief northerly there. But again, yes, the low pressure comes barreling in. And we do start to build high pressure to our east. Now it's bringing quite mild air in from the southwest. But again, that's something completely different to the GFS. So it does tell me that even 8-9 days even in about 8 or 9 days, it's very uncertain what's going to happen. The models have not. Well, it's really going to depend on what happens in the next week or so. But the models have not got a clue what's going to be happening after that. It does look like low pressure will be close to the UK, but whether it's to our west and we're bringing in mild air from the south, or it's over the top of us and we're bringing cool and mild, I would say it's been cool and mild, but very unsettled, we're just going to have to see. I'll look at the GFS ensembles for London. As you can see here, we do have that very cold northwesterly. It goes about to bound. It reaches about -7.5, I think, at this peak. So that's just about cold enough for snow, but it doesn't show a lot of snow spikes on the Ensemble charts. So I'll show you this new snow depth in a minute, and I'll tell you why that you shouldn't really believe it. But as we go, the trend is generally mild, but there's quite a few colder outliers. The GFS operational one's going a bit cooler, which is, I thought it would be a bit milder, but it does look like those cold sectors must have lasted a little bit longer than I thought they had, as we were skimming through that 850 HPA temperature charts. A lot of Ensemble members are going milder, but I'm guessing those are milder sectors and southwesterly winds. A lot of precipitation coming with Storm Ciara, and then quite a few little precipitation spikes, and that will be down to showers and little troughs and convergent lines and stuff coming in that northwesterly wind. Again, that will not be pinpointed by the GFS. The GFS is a mid to longer range model, so the exact rainfall spikes and the wind speeds and the dew points and temperature, you have to take it with a pinch of salt. There could be they're probably likely to be higher spikes here on the shorter range models once they pinpoint shower locations and lines of showers, etc. We'll have a look at the 10 meter temperature, 10 meter wind. As you can see here, going for around getting up to 20 meters per second. And if I've got my calculations correct, that is getting on about 70 kilometers an hour for sustained wind. That's about 50-60 miles per hour. About 40-50 miles per hour. Yes, about around 40-50 miles an hour. Sustained winds. So that's very strong. That would be if that was in the tropics, that would be a tropical storm. So it does look like these significant winds. Again, it doesn't last too long, but strong winds still last for the rest of the week in that northwesterly flow. So we're gonna have to really keep an eye on how the winds develop over the next few days. But batten down the hatches. It's gonna be a rough ride on Sunday. No matter what the outcome is, the exact outcome is, it's gonna be a rough ride for all parts of the country. Now we look on the 2 meter dew point. As you can see here, you probably notice, especially on the 10 meter temperature and the dew point, the operational run, it deviates quite significantly from the Ensemble members. The GFS operational run is at a higher resolution, so it is more likely to pick up on smaller details. So the GFS operational run is better at precipitation and is better at pinpointing exact temperatures. Again, short range models are even better than the GFS operational run, but the GFS operational run is going very cold to the dew point, so it does look like there could be some snow showers. The dew points do last below freezing for a good day and a half. Well, it depends what happens here and towards the end, but day and a half, 2 days, maybe even 3 days, we get dew points below zero, which would allow anything falling at the sky to potentially turn wintry if the other atmospheric setup, if the atmosphere is set up in the correct way. Well, look at the 2 meter temperature. As you can see, 5-6 degrees on Wednesday for that potential snowfall, but then loads of scatter. So it does tell you the uncertainty after that. But yeah, that was what I was highlighting on Sunday. 11-12 degrees on Sunday when that really, really big mild sector comes in. Lastly, we'll have a look at the snow depth. As you can see, they're very small spikes, but there's quite a few of them. Now, it does show you that the GFS ensembles are thinking that there is going to be the right atmospheric setup for snow. You don't take these literally because it is the shorter range models which is really going to decide whether we do see any snow. So you've got to think these are just giving you the characteristics of the atmosphere. And again, these won't really pick up on the exact shower details, so we can't again say that's all the snow or the precipitation there's going to be, as there's likely to be more precipitation than that. If we have a look at the precipitation at that point, it is very, very minimal. So it shows you at this point, most of the ensembles, anything falling out of the sky from Tuesday to Wednesday looks like it's going to be snow or something of a wintry nature. Again, though, we're going to have to pinpoint the exact upper airs and the dew points, as I've said again, on the short range models, and we'll have a look at that over the weekend. As again, this is still 5-6 days out, which is still quite a long way out to be predicting any snow. As a lot of people online, a lot of the meteorologists at Met Office and from BBC Weather, etc., they all say do not believe the snow forecast until at least, or at the earliest, 3 days before the potential snow event. But anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll be back tomorrow with another update. So thanks for watching, and see you tomorrow.